Okay, we already made it Kemat Chazaka here in Basement Achamendel to review the Indian of Tkiyah Shofar. The cheshbon is very simple. A lot of people are blowing shofar for their neighbors, for their wives, for the shchenim, especially this year that there's more people that will be uncomfortable coming to shul. So it's kedai to review. You never know if you need to blow shofar. So it's kedai to review the halachas. In the simon, there's three basic things. One is the size. Chalokes Rishonim about the size of how long a tkiyah, a truah, and a shvorim is. Second is the neshimas. And the third is mistakes, that what happens when you made mistakes, how you go back for them. These are three main sugyas in the simon. Simon Tav Kuf Tzadik. Okay. Oh, fine. Tov Kuf Tzadik. Another few pages. If you blow shofar for another yid, you become a Tov Kuf Tzadik. A Tzadik 500 times over. Wow. Yeah. You have to have a mazel to get a good shofar. Huh? Yeah, it's all about the shofar. Ah, those are great. No, what are you talking about? Very easy. Very easy. Very easy. No? No. Try again. Nah, very easy. A mazel. It's a mazel that it's no two shofars are the same. Not because of the price, because it was meant for you. Your shofar that was meant for you. It was like if you want to spend money, I'm sure. And there are people that specialize. That's what they do all year. They make a living on making shofars. Uh-huh. Right. So that's an old shofar. Right. It's 150 years. Yeah. 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 Okay, so let's go. Kamet kis chayvad am lishma beresh shana teisha. Let's go in the cement of tzaddik. Kamet kis chayvad am lishma beresh shana teisha. Tarat. Tkiya through a tkiya 3 times. Lish shalom from now. Mater shnayim beresh shana v'achim. Korum sheyev lish shmuel am shana medem zamzef. Kal chnei kilo kol shalosh pamim through nemer b'cholach smachem. It's as if it says by Rosh Hashanah 3 times trua. So because it says trua 3 times, and the Torah says that the trua tzrich is pshuta lefanav pshuta lachara. V'hen ikron tkiyas tam shenema v'avarto shofar trua. Mashma shetzorich lahave koil poshet. V'achach tia trua. The loshen v'avarta mashma ha'aboras koil poshet. V'achach trua nemer v'aviru shofar. Mashma shachat trua tzorich gam kin lahave koil poshet. So v'chein b'chol trua trua v'ben shal yovel ben shal shonim shen l'meidem zamezeh. So because we have 3 times trua, we have 3 times trua. This is Rosh Hashanah, this is Yovel Yom Kippur. It's the same thing. What Chazal learned that. So we have 3 times trua, and we have to have a pshuta lefana and a pshuta achareh, because it says ba'avarta shofar trua, so that's before, and it says taviru shofar, that's after. Trua so more better metragmin yavav see ba'ad chalaim nishka v'tiyav v'im sivs mashma shivav kodem kol shad mashma boichom yala yesh l'sam in bavazot derech should come at derech choylem shmarich meni nege choysam umashmim kol ach kol marichem ktsaz zan ikre kone oish kodem am yala makoin shmashmi kol is ktsarim moit tkufim zalaze Bezan ikre yolil oishu kmoshneim biyachad zachaz hayaloch lo achar ha genicha shekein derech aboichem meganeach v'achikach miyalo. So there's three types of cries. The Gemara says that asken babo made a takona. So the fame we spoke about the Shabbos 2 weeks ago, that there's a famous tshuva from the Anshe Kiruan that Rabbi Goen, they said, what do you mean? How did Moshe Rabbeinu do it? How did Yeshua do it? How do you end up having a machlokas here, 3 shittas, and what's the trua? So he said that really the Torah wasn't so makbid. You have to do a shayfa pshuta shlachana pshuta lachara, and inside you gotta wasn't so makbid, but then it looked like the Shnei Torahs. They're doing like this and they're doing like this. It looked like Shnei Torahs. Chazal asking about what means he made a takona will be good for everybody. We're all going to do everything, and Mela, it's not going to look like there's 2 Torahs by Klal Yisrael. Okay, but did that? Huh? That's where the Alter Rebbe brings it. Okay, but right, the Rebbe Haigon is a geshmak pshat. Now, the emes is, if you think about it, it doesn't take that much imagination. It's not just a shear. There's 3 types of cries, and that's just how do you blow the shofar? But the whole shofar is the tzak of the pnimis alev from Ayid to the Eibishter. So in Mela, there's 3 types of cries, just like a yid that's choylas ava. Then there is a yid that has daigis, for daigis is weit from Eibishter. And then there's both together. There's 3 types of cries in this world. There is the one cry which is long, which is like a long krechts, and there is sobbing, and there is both. That a person gives a krechts and a krechts and a krechts, and then he breaks into sobs. These are the 3 types of cries. They call us veikis. Let's go ahead. Ashrat gimel pamim. Shema hatrua hi gnichli alol biyachad. V'achkach ashrat gimel pamim shema trua gnichli lavad. V'hoya yalolos hefsek ben atrua latkir shalachareh. V'atoira amar pshuta shalachareh. V'lo hefsek kol shefer she'en pashat b'intayim. Torah said you have to have a pshuta lefana pshuta lachareh. So if the trua is shvarim trua is gewaldig, but if it's not, so you made a hefsek over here. Pshuta means a simple what we call tkiya. What we call tkiya is called pshuta. That's what pshuta means, that there's nothing fancy to it. Yeah. The tkiya means blowing, but we're in the Shulchan Aruch, we're being more specific. So the Torah said there has to be 3 times teruah, and before teruah and after the teruah there has to be a kol pashut. So if the real teruah, what the Torah really meant was shvarim, and you did these other funny sounds, so you made a hefsek between the kol pashut before and after. So therefore you have to do 3 different sets. So therefore you have to do it 3 times. The person, you can't say that when he does the first set, tkiya, and does shvarim trua and tkiya. So either way, if it's a type of cry, shvarim or trua, so what's the difference? He had the pshuta before, pshuta after, and he had no, because he had a hefsek here. So therefore, there has to be 3 sets. There is tashrat, which is tkiya, shvarim trua, tkiya, 3 times, and then Tkiya Shvarim Trua 3 times, and then Tkiya Trua Tkiya 3 times. From this we get 30 koilos. From this we get 30 koilos. The Gedolah is just an extra fanciness, just to try to be a little extra fancy. We'll talk about soon the make Chabad, maybe to make the Trua after the Shvarim Trua very, very long, but whatever. These are fancy stuff, but that's not the part of the actual length of the Trua. If he made a Tanai, Jim say that Tashrat Mikra Mitzvah, Talal Tkiya Zul Tkiya Chroina Shel Tashrat. Jim said that Tashrat Mikra Mitzvah, but I know it's Lechabas Talal Tkiya Zul Tkiya Rishena Tel Tashat. Funny guy. Instead of he wants to save from 32 koilos, he wants to save 2 koilos. I'm sorry, from 30 koilos, he wants to save 2 to only do 28. And he thinks he has a brilliant eitzah. He's doing the first set, okay? Tkiya Shvarim Trua, Tkiya. Tkiya Shvarim Trua, Tkiya. Then he does Tkiya Shvarim Trua, Tkiya, but then he does right away Shvarim, because he says it's the 3 sets of the Chasafik. So this Tkiya that's in between the Morosov, it's the Trua, the Tkiya. I'm sorry, the Tkiya, the Curl Pashut. The curl pashut, the last curl pashut from the first set, he says, why should I have 2 times a curl pashut? It's a chasafik between the 3 sets. So he wants to save. The whole thing, he's going to save 2. I was talking to Shliach, who gives a hechsher in a place, and he was telling me he just so he called in New York to one of the big companies that give achsherim. He asked, so the guy said, you could do this and that. He says, but it's a big kula. He says, no, it's not a kula. It's a chiddush. So there, again, this is a funny sif. There's a guy, he wants to do, instead of 30 koilos, he wants to save a little bit. So he's going to save the pshuta, that between set number 1 and 2, and between 2 and 3, instead of finishing over the pshuta and another pshuta, he's going to make the 1 pshuta for both. Again, Siv Gimel. His Navet Kiachan Shoshedet Tashrachim, Shedet Tashatim, Ikra Mitzvah Talut Kizul Kiachan Shel Tashratim, say the Tashatim Ikra Mitzvah, and Yetzeh Chavasat Kala, Zezulat Kirishan Shel Tashat, and it's Zarich with Koyashenis. לפני תשעת הראשון של ממונשך יועץ בתקיע זו, לכן מדינים מסתם בתקיע חלן של תשעת, שתל זה לתקיע ראשון של תערת. If he makes such a tanai, it's fine. He could do it. It's a good question. If he didn't make this tanai, it's a good question, but we don't. And what's if he's doing it? Doesn't matter. Not every time the Chazal goes from Manasayim. Only when Chazal the Poil were gozer, like we spoke Sunday morning. When Chazal were gozer, they were gozer. They were not gozer. Okay. Who we Chazal weren't kosher, so we're not going to make takonas. He has to make a tanai. Otherwise, the opinion that holds a mitzvah tzrichas kavanah is going to have a problem with this. So he has to make the fetish a tanai and say that this pshuta that is going to be sheared, this pshuta that I'm have my monomshech. If the real set is tashrat, the pshuta belongs to tashrat. If the real set is tashat, it belongs to tashat. It makes a tanai, it's not good. If he didn't make a tanai, according to the opinion of mitzvah tzrichas kavona, so what's going on? This is, if you had in mind this for tashrat, it's not a tkiyah that's l'shem mitzvah. It's like Kistam blowing a trumpet. It's like blowing a whistle. That it's not a tkiyah l'shem mitzvah. It's garnished. So therefore, if he does, you have to make. Anyway, this is an anomaly. No one's doing it. That's why they made no gzeira. It's a mitzvah l'shkicha l'gozer b'rabbanan. No one's. If you're already going to blow, big deal. You say, okay, but this is just yagdal Torah v'yad. This is the din. Shir tchiya amura b'toirim. Now is where we're going to get into the first sugya of the three sugyas that we're talking about, which are important to know when you're going to blow shofar. The length and the size of the pshuta shlachanan shlachara and the actual teruah that's inside. Again, when I say pshuta, I mean the tekiya, the koil pasha. So now let's talk about the size, and then we'll talk about the breathing, and then we'll talk about mistakes. Shir tekiya amura b'toira. What's the shir of tekiya? So that's kashir teruah amura b'toira. Shir teruah amura b'toira gimel yavalas. So it's like there's a workup. We're going up, a pshuta, then we have the teruah, and then we have a pshuta. So each one of these three should be the same size. The tkiya before and the tkiya after should be as long as whatever is in between. How long is the thing in between? So this machlok is a big machlok rishonim. The first opinion is everything is shorter, because everything is much smaller. And the second opinion, everything is much bigger. Everything is bigger. So everything grows in size. Everything is longer. The first opinion is whatever, the smallest size. What we call tromatin. The smallest sound you could physically make. So now Chazal said you have to bake three sets. Tashrat, tashat, tarat. So the tkiya, the pshut of the tashrat has to be as big as the inside. How big is the inside? The hainu gimel shvanim beinanim. Shehem kegimel genichus beinanis gimel yalalas katanas. Shrei bahakol biyachad hu trua shel seder tashrat b'seder tashrat ein tzorich laharich b'tkiyoyser. Ele kedei shir gimel shvanim beinanim. Shezor shir trua shel seder tashrat. ובתקיע ששייד תרת אין הצורך להעריך אלא כדי שיר יגמו יבואו לולס קטנס שזה שיר תרוש ששייד תרת. So basically in the tashrat is the longest tkiyas. In the second time in tashat is the tkiyas are shorter, and tarat they're tiny the tkiyas, because whatever is in the front and in the back has to be as big as the middle. It has to be proportionate the same size, as we'll say soon. You can have it longer. That's not a problem. And you can do extra shvarim, extra truas. We're going to talk about that soon. But now is the minimum size. So whatever is in the middle, that's how much the size have to be. So in Tashrat, the middle is longer. So the sides have to be longer. Tashat, smaller, everything. And Tarat, everything is even smaller. If you can hold your breath and you want to make a very long tekiya, no problem. The shear meant a minimum, but you want to blow for 20 minutes straight, no problem. It's not p'shaych a human being. Nah, maybe 30 seconds. Yeah, a half a minute maybe. Maybe it'll be longer, I don't know. But that's it. Maybe who's the top swimmer in the world today? No, but it's the same like underwater swimming. It's a zabazach. You're taking in a breath, and then you're slowly letting it out. It's the same thing. Like presumably a good swimmer could be a good baltakeya. He knows how to do it, to take it in and to hold it and calmly let it out. Sabislach. What? No, chas v'shalom. If he wants to make the tkiyas very long, he has the reshus to do so. By trua, he can do the same thing. If he wants to make a lot of little sounds, So now there is Lamash Kamashir, Chemishwan, Moisagim, Lamakaklon, Venakamavsk, Bentrua, Shmoran, Kish, Lacharakimisha, Kalashwan, Kotramatum, Benishim Achas. As long as you're doing Benishim Achas, instead of 3 Shwarim, you could do 12 Shwarim. Mekomakim Nogu Shaloi Lohoisev al Gimel Shvarim. Al Tremetem Yochalas Kamashiyerza. That's Minig Yisrael. V'chein Sefer Yesh Oisem Gimel V'Sefer Gimel Shvarim called Pashut. Kein Tkiye. V'chein Oisem V'Sefer Tremetem. Avalena Minig Glasses Kein. Chabad does have the Minig. Chabad does have the Minig. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right. So, okay. So like this. First of all, it's interesting. It's mamish. It's a mirror. I'm sure I'm gonna. If I look, I'll find someone that's gonna say this. But bli sofek, someone is gonna say this word. But just like in Sukkot, the din is that you could be moisef. But the lapoil, the minig Yisrael is that we're only moisef in Hadassah. We're only moisef in Hadassah. We're not moisef in Arovis. No, but Arovis and Hadassim you could be moisef, and as a hidden mitzvah. And right, no, that's what I'm saying. The minig Yisrael is never to put more than 2 Arovis. Only a lot of Hadassim. And same thing here. You're allowed to. I'm just showing you. It's mamish. It's just like you have the lulav. You have the lulav together. You have the lulav and Hadassim and Arovis. You have here the same thing. You have a pshuta and then another 2 sounds, right? And the minig Yisrael is that shvarim we're not moisef. Okay, mechabad mas 3.5. It's a separate inyan, but we're not moisef on the shvarim. But truas, so the Rebbe Marash some years did 40, 50, 53 or 63 or 72 ad kedekach neshin ma'ach. He had a very good neshima. So he had kavanas, versteht sich. It's not for everyone. But Lapoil, Minig Yisrael, right? No, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. Because the extra that you're moisev, it just makes sense. The shufra, for if that's what you're going to do, it should be proportionate. But it's not going to be mahakam. But I see here a parallel to Sukkot and Rosh Hashanah. Just like in Sukkot, there's the Inyan is that Klal Yisrael is noyek to be moisef and Hadassim, and that's it. The same here, Klal Yisrael is noyek to be moisef in Inyan of Achdus. Okay, maybe. This is also 3. This is also 333. This is especially according to the second shita, that's mamash 333. That the trua is that the shear is 3 koilas, but it has to be broken up into 3. It's 9 koilas, but 9 really is 3, 3, and 3, because really the shear is 3 sounds. But the sounds have to be very small, so every one of the sounds is broken into 3. So that's why you have 9 koilas, according to the second opinion, in the trua. No, the shvarim is 3, and then the tkiyas are 9. Why 9 tkiyas? Because we take each one of the shvarim and we break it into 3. So that's why we have a minimum of 9, according to the second opinion. First opinion says 9 seconds. Right, well, I'm saying, but it's 9 koilas. But 9. Huh? No, I'm saying the how big the trua is. The trua is now 9 sounds, according to the second opinion, because it has to be 3. Yes, it's very close to the Hadassim, if you think about it. It's 3. It's the idea of 3. So, but the first opinion doesn't buy that. Everything is much shorter. The shvarim is to be 3 koilas, a little bit bigger than the truas, and the truas is the minimum. But tzarich lizor, according to this first opinion, you have to be nizah. The shvarim shall say that the shrat shel yach v'shever echel migimel shvarim kadesh yir gimel shvarim beinanim. The shvarim you shouldn't make too long, because the shvarim you have to keep them pretty small. The gimel yalolas da'inet terumetim shezeh shir tkiya shall say that the shrat. Once one of these shvarim becomes so big that it's as long as what the whole inside is, so that became a tkiya already. It's not a shevet anymore. Now it's a tkiya. Beseder shel tashat, sheshir tkiya so gimel shvarim beinanim, is even smaller. Lo yarich b'shever echet kedeshir gimel shvarim beinanim. Shelo yetze mechlal shever v'yikore b'shem tkiya. Again, why is it called a shever? Because it's small. And once it gets as big as all three shvarim put together, in this seder, it became a tekiya. And therefore, even in the seder of Tashrat, you should try to make the shvarim pretty small. That they should be not bigger than the tekiya of Tarat. לפיכך טוב לקצה בכל שבע ושבע, בכל מה דאפשר. רק שלא יקצה יויסה מדי, כדי שיהיה לו שם גניחה ולא שם ילולו, דהיינו תרמייתא. If you're going to make the shevet really small, it's not shevet anymore. Now it's trua. But there's two different sounds. There is krechts and there's sobs. And you have to, a krechts has to be a krechts and a sob has to be a sob. Krechts is a little bigger and the sob is smaller. So you still have to have it a little bigger. But we try to make that even the shever of the tashrat should not be as big as the tkiya of the tarat. And the tkiya of the tarat is pretty small because, according to this opinion, tarat is very short. There isn't a lot to it. There's 3 koiches and that's it. So really, the chatchila shever should be not bigger than 3 koiches. Two is pretty small, and that's good according to the first opinion. The Minik Chabad, the Minik Chabad today that almost everyone does because that's what the Rebbe did in 770, the Rebbe Rashab did differently, is that it has 3 koiches in it. Two, yeah, shvarim. 2. But others make it shorter. But even according to the first opinion, this is fine. And especially according to the second opinion, where it really needs to have 3 koiches. So 2. So you have 3 here. 2. Yeah, about that. 2. Huh? True is 2. Oh. Everyone agrees that that's the only thing is that the first opinion says you have to do 3 times through. You're just 3. Yeah. And the second opinion is going to say that no, that times, right? So you have to have shevet has to be each one of the shevet has to have the same space of 3 koilos, 2. So that's 9. The span of 9 koiches, and the true is 9 times. They don't make F's. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, fine. Yeshem, Sivav, Yeshem. Shashir Yavava, Gimel Trumatin, Vashir Trumak, Gimel Yavavas. Shem Test Trumatin. They say everything is longer. What are you talking about? They say a shevet has to be as long as 3. Like I said, the Minik Chabad is, a shevet is 2, 2. And then it's a half one, whatever. But each one of the Shvarim B'diuk should have the size of what would have been 3 koilos had there been a hefsek in it. So they hold that every shevet has to have a minimum of the size of 3 trumatim. And the trua, test trumatim. That's why trua is by at least 9 times. The minimum is 9 times. B'shir tkiya, and everything gets bigger now. The tkiyas have all of a sudden are growing because we said the pshuta shalafanel of achara has to be as big as the inside, so everything has to grow right now. Yeah, in the first set, it's the tkiyah is mamish bigger, and the other set, whatever, fierich, but everything grows in the second opinion. Again, B'Yeshem Shir Yavava Gimel Trumetim. B'Shir Teruah Gimel Yavava Shem Test Trumetim. So the Shvarim has as long as 9 sounds, and the Teruah is as long as 9 sounds. So Shvarim Teruah, the middle has 18, the length of 18 sounds, or 18 seconds if you would like. B'Shir Kishir Teruah Gamken Test Trumetim. B'Shir Shvarim. Mevada le pachas mshir tru gam ken testremet an khal pachas ken tzarich laharig b'chol sheva le pachas gimel tremet deisha b'gimel shmorim b'yachad lo ye pachas mit testremet kishir tru lefi devrem tzarich laharig b'tkir shel tashrat lo pachas min chayt tremet shezo shir tru shel tashrat an gimel genichas gimel yavavas b'yachad shem le pachas me chayt tremet. So according to the first opinion, the tkiyah is starting to grow because in the first set, which is tashrat, the shvarim and the trua, the minimum is the length of 18 sounds because you have 3 shvarim and every shevet has to have 3, and the trua is the same thing, but they're broken up into smaller. So you don't have 3, but you have 9. So you have altogether the length of 18 koilas minimum. So the tkiyas have to grow lefierech, because we said the pshut shulchaneh have to be the same size. Well, lefi divrayim, skip next. Now you don't have to schwitz about the shevet. The shevet could be a little longer. I don't care. Because the shevet has to be smaller than the trua, but the trua is quite long already by now, according to this opinion. The shevet, even in the first seder of Tashrat, should be smaller than the tekiah of tarat. Okay, shem tekiah is tarat alav. But yeah, but yoytzim herech v'shevet shel tashrat pachas mechayt remetim k'mishel azeh seder adayin ein alav shem tekiah. Ubeseder shel tashat torich laharich b'tekiyas k'shir test remetim shesir teruah shel zeh seder. And again, lo yarich v'shevet k'shir test remetim v'imherich v'riyah lo yotza l'fish yotza mechlal shever v'nichnas mechlal tekiah shel zeh seder. Again, the proportion, the size are all proportionate. In the middle, in the Tkiyah Shvarim Trua, the Shever has to be, each one of the Shvarim is as long as 3 koilas. It can be a little longer, but once each one of these Shvarim are as long as 9 koichos, it's not a Shever anymore. It's a Tkiyah. That's it. Why is it called a Shever? By now, it's a Tkiyah already. Okay? No, he could do. Sometimes you hear, go now, Chodesh El, people, anyone picks up a shofar. You hear, and no. He's saying, what he means over here, he means, then it'll, nichmas b'chlal tkiyah. B'seder shel tashat, tzorech laharich b'tkiyas, shezeu shir teruah. No, he doesn't mean teruah, he means the middle. It's such a problem as we have a Shema Mushal. The middle is the Trua. Now, it's sometimes a Shvar. I know, they should have used a different word, and then, the middle is always the Trua. But in actuality, sometimes it's Shvarim Trua, and sometimes it's Shvarim, and sometimes it's Trua. But the middle is Trua. So he's saying that in the Shvarim, in the second set, as you can't be as long as the entire what's the entire in the middle, because that's already what the pshut shilafana is. So if he did a very long sheva, you hear sometimes people do very long shvarim. They don't no longer go into shuls. You hear sometimes people that tkiyah they make pretty short, and the shvarim they make pretty long. Go into shul, you'll see because it's the timing it's hard for people to have. So the shvarim, sometimes you hear people that the shvar, you can hear he's not a regular baltekeya, that the shevet ends up being pretty long. So even if he made the tkiyah even longer, but as long as the shevet is as long as it would take someone to blow, basically if he's right, seconds. As long as it's 9 seconds, then it's too long. Because each shever. If each shever becomes more than 9 seconds, so then even if your tkiyas are long, what's the difference? Al pidin, this could count as a pshuta. So you're not. All right, so you did a pshuta. It's like you did a long pshuta and a shorter pshuta, but you did in pshutas. The only way you could say that this is a shever is by that it's shorter than the size of a tkiya, which al pidin is the minimum. It has to be less than the minimum. Less than the minimum. Linyan alocha. So what's the alocha? Because you don't lose anything. If you do everything like the Sfar HaCharona, it's not a problem. Because at least in the bottom set, Tarat, Testramatin is already considered a pshuta. ובכל תרועה צריך לעשות טסט רמייתם. אבל בדיעבד ושכבר התוק בשינה מאחם וחלילה אין צריך לעשות לתקיים שיש לספוס לרשיים. Unless the Alter Rebbe is going to say that you mixed and matched over here. You made one shever like, like the second opinion, which is pretty long, but okay, you did it a little shorter. And the other shever was like really small, the tkiya. You can't mix and match. But if you do everything in a Seder of Tashrat, or like the first, or everything like the second, you should do everything like the second. So let's summarize the bottom line. If we do like the second, what are we doing? Every shevet has to be a minimum of 3 koiches, and every trua has to have a minimum of 9 times, at least 9 times. And the tkiyas have to be accordingly. That in Tashrat, the tkiyas have to be a minimum of how long it would take to blow 18 koiches. And Tashat Tarat, the tkiyas has to be the minimum of 9 koiches. Yeah. No. You just have to practice before Yom Tov. You just have to practice before Yom Tov. Now, no, if you practice before Yom Tov, you get the hang of it. That's why it's good when you blow the whole Chodesh Elul, and then you get the hang of it. But the truth is that it's not that hard to do longer tkiyas, because what are we talking about? Even 18 seconds, it's not hard. If you have a shofar that you get used to, 20, 25 seconds, nicht gefährlich. Okay, you get used to it. But when it comes to Rosh Hashanah, you want to bam from Yoitza. So that's why if you make long tkiyas, you have nothing to lose. You can make longer tkiyas. No, did she teach you? How come your daughter Dafka can blow shofar better than you? Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. So let's summarize again. The shvorim have to be a minimum of what it takes 3 sounds. Like I said, that's why Minhag Chabad is 2, just a minimum of 3 sounds. And then the tkiyas have to be a proportion. So in the first set, you have the minimum of 18 sounds. So the sides have to be a minimum of how long it would take to do 18 sounds. And the next 2, which is the tkiya shvarim, and the tashat and the tarat, that both sides have to be the minimum of 9 sounds. How long it would have taken to do the 9 sounds. The middle is 9 sounds. And you made a toast. Right. So sometimes you have to go back at the beginning of the first tkiya, and sometimes not we're in that bubba that you're holding on. You go back to that tkiya. If you do go back to that tkiya, you have nothing to lose. Sometimes yes, sometimes not. We'll get to you just go to back that tkiya. To that, yeah, not to the whole shura. You did the tashrat good, and in the second tashrat, you're a little bit goofed up. So you go back to that tkiya. Because the first tashrat is kosher. That's good. Second one, so you go back to that tkiya. If you're in a shul about tkiya, the best thing to do is to tell the makri before that you're going to give him a simon. In Chabad, the Makri is not saying it. He's just pointing with the finger. In the Welt, they say it. But either way, there's always a Makri. So either way is good. Either way is good. But the thing is that you're going to get, if you're going to go back to read, so the best thing is the Eitzah that I know is the best Eitzah is that you tell the Makri before that if I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to go to you like this. So you know that I went back on a tkiya. So don't get old. So, because then you're going to get mixed up. You're going to start saying, so this is what you know. How is the Makri, you made a toast, and you want to go back, say you didn't take an Ashima between the tkiya and the how does he know you took an Ashima, you didn't take an Ashima? So my thing is that you tell him before, I'm going to go with my finger like this. So you know that you're going to go back. That's it. I have one more very important. Let's do the thing with the breathing. The next sugya, which is very important. I'm sorry, I skipped a little piece. That all the avavas has to be b'neshim achas. If a person does lamazagan, he does truas. He runs out of steam. He takes a little breath and he continues. Now, why? Because the Torah says trua. One means the rest of the sounds is a separate trua. So he can't breathe in between. He has to do it b'neshim achas. Exactly. But he can't stop. It's over. That's a separate thing. Besides, exactly. Once you stop, you have to be boydek even if you did the roiv or not. Aval shloisha shvarim mit truah the tasharat av b'sheshnei b'yachad v'makom truah achas amor b'toidet shem yagdei chaviyel b'yachad zochazeh av b'kein ein tzarech lasses b'neshim achas. That even though it's one truah, but over here you do take a breath in between the shvarim and the truah. Lefish ein derech ha'odam lignoyach l'yavel b'neshim achas. L'mafsik b'neim k'dei neshim b'dayin shoyis neshim b'neim b'ntayim. Lefikach gam etakei tzarech lasses neshim b'ntayim. Makom lo yafsik yoysim mechadei lasses neshim achas b'ntayim. Lo yamtim al ariyah ad sheikra makro l'pon of truah. Al ariyah me'atzme achas shvarim take it from yad achas shos neshim achas. That's what the meaning is when there's a makri. They don't say shvarim truah. They say shvarim truah. Right? They don't. Why? Because they don't want to make it should be a hefsek. Even those that are noyegas will say so, like this opinion that they take a neshima. They take a neshima between the shvarim and the truah, but the makri says it together. He says tkiya shvarim truah. Why? Because even if you're going to take a breath in between, it shouldn't be too much of a hefsek. But the Yeshem, the second opinion, says no. It's not possible for a person to correct and then to sob in one neshima. Usually it takes a breath in between. But that's when a person's crying. Here, we're not crying. We're blowing shofar. לפיכך אם עשה בשתי נשימות לא יוצא, אלא יעשה בנשימה אחת. כל מקום יפסק מעט בעיניהם, וישנחנוק לשני קוילס, שביניקה, there's two separate coils. But this is the machloikes. This is the machloikes. This is a gewaltige machloikes. So, what do you do? What are you supposed to do? Machloikes Rishonim. First opinion says that you should take a neshima between the shvarim through a second opinion says no, don't take a breath between the shvarim through a minig of Medina Selik is for the Shina. The minig is like the first opinion, you do take a neshima in between, like the Rebbeinu Tam, because that's Ashkenaz will do it that way. But ein l'shanas a minig of machloikes. Aval mokum she'em minig kavua, if there isn't a minig kavua, yesh lahanig lasses b'tkis miyushav b'neshiva achas. The first 30 koilas, which are called Tkiyas Miyushav. Why is it called Tkiyas Miyushav? Because Apidin you're allowed to sit. Agam the Olam by us is no to stand. It's not a middle Shmanesis, you're allowed to sit. It's called Tkiyas Miyushav. So the first set of tkiyas we do b'neshim achas. Why? Why? Shov l'svar rishona yeshem nim shimas b'neshim achas yotza. K'moed ke'terat et hasham b'neshim achas yotza. K'moed sheyizboeh. So in the first set, we say you should do everything b'neshim achas. Why? Because you're 75% there. I'm saying it as a joke. 75%. The shita that holds that you have to do it, the Rishonim that hold you have to do it b'neshim achas. It's 50%. The other Rishonim that they say that you have to take a breath in between. But B'chlal, if you did the whole thing, the Tkiyah Shvarim through all in one breath, there are those that hold the Yoitza. Anyway. So even if you should have taken a breath and you didn't, the Yeshem Yotza. So you're 75% there. So that's better. So b'shas you do the tkiyas miyushav, you should do the shvarim through b'neshim achas. Aval b'tkiyas miyumed she'ein mevorchim aleim. So in the first set with the brach is it should be that this is a way that will divir akol you were yoytz and yovad. But later by tkiyas miyumed and shmanesra yasu b'shtei neshimas. Why? Kedei lochish l'soras mishemed l'svar hashayna. But there is an opinion that says that when you're supposed to take an Hashim, if you didn't, you're not Yoitza. So there is a tzad to say that if you were supposed to take a breath between the Shvarim and the Truah, you're not Yoitza. So therefore, the Tkiyas Miyushev, there is a tzad to say that no one was Yoitza yet. So at least by the Tkiyas Miyumed, we're doing it with an Hashim of time. And so anyway, the 30 kolos we already heard. So we're covered from all sides. So the bottom line is that Alter Rebbe thinks that the best idea to do is that the Tkiyas Miyumet, Tkiyas Miyushev, you should split it. The first side of Tkiyas, the Tkiyas Miyushev, you should do the Shvarim Teruah B'neshim Achas, and then you should do it by Shemon Esrei, you should do it split. So therefore your Yoitz according to both days. Why is it better to do this way, to start off with Shvarim Teruah glued, because that's what you're saying the bracha, and there could be that l'chol is the avad if you didn't take an Hashim Yoyotza. So that's why it was machriya better to start this way. But the ikar, what the Alter Rebbe was trying to get to is that we make up shara. The Tkiyas Miyusha we do one way. The Tkiyas Meumed we do the other way. So Beinu is Kala Silah that we did the halacha according to both opinions. We did the halacha according to both opinions, Gevaldik. So this adds another inyan, because besides the fact that we want the bracha to be chal, now also on the tkiyas that we're doing b'shmon esrei, but this adds a little bit salt and pepper to why you shouldn't make a hefsek b'dibur, because there is a tzad to say that we're not yotza b'chlal. You were not yotza. You were yotza only the tkiya, the first tkiya. First tkiya you were yotza. But otherwise, you were not yotza anything yet. You were not yotza anything yet. According to the Manda Omer, it says that you have to do it b'shnei neshimas, and if you didn't, you're not yotza. So when you did the tkiyas miyushiv, you were not yotza. You were not yotza. Okay, I hear you, Shaila. I hear. Oh, what should you do when you're blowing for your wife? What you should do is the first, the Benishima Achas. That's what the Alter Rebbe thinks that's anyway closer to. I wouldn't do 100. If you want to be Mahadid, you'll do 60. You'll do the first 30. Not even 60. Okay, so you can do Tashrat. You do 60, or you can do even less. You can do Tashrat the one way, and then Tashrat the other way, and then do Tashrat Tarat. But you know, when you go to, that's only for your wife. Of the Pashtas, if you're going to go blow for someone's houndbound, if they're nervous about Corona, if someone that's not yet a Shema Torah mitzvah, you meet them in the street, So for them, it's kedai just to do it simple, 30 koilus, and to do b'neshima achas. Because the Alter Rebbe is machriya that that's better. Because first of all, there is a shit that holds a must be b'neshima achas. And even the shit that holds you should take a neshima between the shvarim and the truma. If you did the whole tashat, b'neshima achas, still you would have been yoytze. So you're almost there. Elamai, in the Beis HaKnesses, we try to do taka for all shittas. Right,
Only 30. That's
right.
Only 30. That's it.
But he was saying if you do for your wife, so, okay, so but let's summarize. So because the rest of the simon is not so negay, but the first two sugyas are very important. So the first sugya we had was the size of the pshuta and the size of the trua that's in the middle. And we had the first opinion, which is everything is smaller, that the shvarim is only 3, and the trua is only 3, and the difference of the shevet and the trua is that the shevet is a little bigger, and the trua, all the truas are smaller, and all the shvarim are smaller, and everything is smaller. And the second opinion is that everything is bigger. That Tashrat you need to have 18, the length of 18 koiches. And the pshuta before and the pshuta after is to be as long as 18. And the other two sets, Tashat Tarat, is the middle is 9 and the sides are not as long as 9. And that's what we are noyig to do. And the second thing is shaylas about doing an neshima between the shvarim and the trua. So the Alter Rebbe is machriya that we should do like both shittas. Elamai, shas you make the bracha. You should do it in neshima achas, not to take a neshima with the shvarim and the trua. And later in the moment, you have to take a neshima between the shvarim and the trua. Messiah b'dove toiv. So seeing now before I came, there is a girl some in Tzfas Chabad. It's considered like they always the girls. Busal on there has to be like in the island the Eid with the shul, but there has to be 2 shuls. So anyway, there's this the Rabbi Chitrik. He's running this many years. So a story that he told. He was said that he went on Mecca Shlichus when he was a Talmud in the Shliach in Melbourne, and they went to Perth. Perth is like the other end of Australia. Melbourne, Sydney is sort of like on the one end of Australia, and Perth is mamish and Andazite. It's the other end of the world. Taka Perth is taka the other end of the world. Even in Perth, Filzach, that you're on the other end of the world. So they were Tishrei and they wanted to get like every shluchim come in a place. So you want to make a splash so people know, and you go right away. Try to get to the press in a sleepy town like Perth. You start so you get a little bit of press and attention. So and they were matzliach and Naseris Yemei to between checking and bird, they put it up as close to 400 mezuzahs. They were matzliach, unbelievable. So when you were bocher, it's like I remember we were shluchim, Mecca shlichus, and it was I told my partner, it was Yudi Tachtel, he's Terei Shliachim. I said, "Medaf, it's bald kol nidre. We have to eat something." He said, "No, but one more time. I'm telling you, we're going to get another few mezuzahs." So they got it, and then every shliach he writes duchadim cheshbon to the Rebbe, and they clipped out the newspapers and they put it in the envelope and they sent it. When he came back from shlichus, his father he sees in his house a few clips in the newspaper from Perth. So he asked his father, "I didn't send it to you. How do you have it?" He said, "I don't know." Rabbi Klein came to our house and dropped it off. The Rebbe wrote Leha Hoidim Sheyichu. Give it to the parents. They'll have nachas. Maybe we shall help. No, Rabbi Klein didn't live. They live on Chitrik lives on no Chitrik. Chitrik lives on Nishtal Zayvait, the president Nishtal Zayvait. But anyway, the idea is that when we go to blow shofar for another yid or any time, anytime that we do a toiva to another yid, that their children see that we're doing a toiva to another yid. And Mamela, they learn from this. David shall help and that should have a zisiyor, we should have ksivach some toiva shana toiva msuke, and that all of us should take matzliach and haben machen gute shidduchim and have nachas for kinder and kids kinder, Yiddish nachas, Sudish nachas.
Oh, man, you're scared.